Welcome to Revolutionary War Rarities, the podcast of the Sons of the American Revolution. Like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast in your favorite application. You can also follow our podcast at fastfunhistory.com. For education resources provided by the National Society Sons of the American Revolution, go to education.sar.org. And now, Revolutionary War Rarities.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Revolutionary War Rarities Season 3, to our latest episode entitled, Rebels Turn Out Your Dead. My name is Jim Griffith. Human abuses occurring during war go back as far as war itself. Historically, the victors of a war would capture their enemies and sell them into slavery. Prisoners would be abused, starved, and frequently killed. But some of the most treacherous abuse of prisoners occurred on our own shores. It happened in what we now refer to as prison ships. And most of those prison ships, at least most of the notorious prisoner ships, were located in New York Harbor. And today we have a special guest with us who has studied those prison ships, a fellow compatriot of the Sons of the American Revolution, Mr. Bill Summers. Bill, we are happy to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to join you.
So, Bill, tell us about the prison ships.
Well, the prison ships became a British resource shortly after the disastrous Battle of Long Island, also known as the Battle of Brooklyn, which I believe you've covered in other shows. And the colonial soldiers captured during that battle, many of them were sent to these ships, which are docked mostly in Wallabout Bay, near the present-day location of the New York Naval Shipyard, also known as the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard. During the American Revolution, there were other locations where prison ships were used by the British, but none of these locations were as infamous as the 24 prison ships in New York, including the 16 in Wallabout Bay. The conditions aboard those ships were absolutely deplorable. The air was so stagnant in the hulks of those ships where the prisoners were held that a lantern would not even stay lit. And one ship, designed to hold 450 sailors, would frequently be overcrowded with more than 1,200 American prisoners. So rats, lice, human waste, scorching heat in the summer, freezing temperatures in the winter, little food, bacteria-infested water, the list goes on. And sadly, as a result, there were more deaths of Americans on these prison ships than died in all battles of the American Revolution. Wow. Significantly more.
Wow. Was there any particular bad ship among, I know they were all bad ships, but was there any particular notoriously bad ship?
Yes, there was one that stands out in infamy, and that was the HMS Jersey. It is believed that 11,500 American prisoners died on this one ship during the Revolution. It's also believed that as many as 20,000 total American prisoners died in the war, with the majority on the Jersey. Each morning, the Jersey guards would unseal the hatch and yell, "Rebels, turn out your dead." And unfortunately, there were generally about 10 prisoners every day who died. And these bodies would then be buried in shallow mass graves along the coast.
Now, was there a particular reason for that level of brutality?
There was. The British considered the prisoners to be traitors, not prisoners of war, so they treated them accordingly. It was also believed by the British that this level of brutality, which was not hidden, would serve as a deterrent from others joining the rebel cause. In other words, it would prevent other colonists from fighting for the Americans during the Revolution.
And did it work?
Well, most prisoners, unfortunately, were not able to fight again for the American cause, but surprisingly, few switched over to the British cause to gain their freedom. And it's also believed that this particularly brutal treatment of American prisoners actually backfired and caused people to see the British as cruel oppressors, resulting in more people fighting for the American cause.
Bill, you'd hope that there would be people that would be trying to escape from those ships. Did it ever happen?
They tried. Absolutely, they tried, but it was rarely successful. It was very difficult to escape. They were so weak that made it difficult. A lot of the people who did escape would die on the way home after they escaped. In fact, it's believed that the prisoners on some of the ships actually set fire to their own ship, the ship where they were imprisoned, either in the attempt to assist an escape or maybe just to hasten their own deaths and stop their suffering.
Wow. Unbelievable. So understand that a lot of the bodies of the prisoners were buried. They were buried in shallow graves,
right?
But also understand that they were frequently uncovered either by the tide or by animals and dragged away.
Yeah, sadly, that's true. And oddly enough, due to the flow of water in that area, the layout of the land, and later development, bodies or bones really continue to wash up or be dug up in that area for decades.
Wow. So, Bill, as you know, one of the main focuses of the Sons of the American Revolution is to memorialize the individuals who fought or served during the Revolution. Has there been any effort to memorialize the individuals who died aboard those prison ships?
Absolutely, yes. Many of the bones that I mentioned of American patriots were revered as they washed ashore or came undone, and they were actually placed in a vault with a monument that was known as the Tomb of the Patriots. In 1908, this was upgraded with a new 149-foot column and bronze sculptures, and that was unveiled by President-elect William Howard Taft at what is now known as the Prison Ship Martyrs Monument in Fort Greene Park, and that's still there today. Also, some members of the Sons of the American Revolution honor their patriot prisoner ancestors, and actually, I believe I have such an ancestor, and that actually spurred my interest in this topic.
Sure.
Like, oh, I bet it did.
Yeah. Makes it a lot more personal.
Absolutely.
Right. So over time, there were actions taken by international organizations in an attempt to limit the amount of brutality taken against prisoners. The Geneva Convention, the United Nations, numerous organizations have defined limits around the treatment of prisoners. Exceeding those limits generally results in facing international criminal charges of war crimes. It is believed that these rules and regulations, the regulatory bodies, and international pressure has resulted in overall better treatment of prisoners today. But where there is war, there is hatred. And where there is hatred, there are hateful actions taken and then people obviously suffering. The prison ships defined a new level of brutality and hatred and resulted in as many as 20,000 American deaths, far exceeding the 6,500 soldiers killed during the fighting. And Wallabout Bay will forever be linked to the atrocities suffered by these Americans, most of whom are still unknown due to poor record keeping by the British. So, rebels, turn out your dead. Sadly, they did every day. And today, we honor those who suffered through this brutal treatment and helped to found our great nation. And that, my friends, is a Revolutionary War rarity. My name is Jim Griffith. And Bill Summers, I want to thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for what your family did in suffering through and getting through these things. I appreciate your interest in this particular topic, and I'm glad that you brought it to my attention so that we could have it delivered in this format here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed being here, and I wish y'all continued success with the podcast.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all again for our next episode in 2 weeks of Revolutionary War Rarities. This has been a production of the National Society, Sons of the American Revolution, www.sar.org.